Joining us right now is Dinesh D'Souza, New York Times best-selling author, filmmaker, and creator of the wonderful documentary, the history-making documentary, really, Hillary's America, The Secret History of the Democratic Party, now available on DVD, by the way. Hello, Dinesh.
Hey, good to be on the show.
Well, great to have you back, sir. I know we got you for 2 segments, so we'll take a deep breath, we'll relax, get comfortable. But I do want to ask you, before we get started on all the news of the day here, your documentary, your wonderful documentary, got nominated for 5 Razzies, which is a derogatory, achievement, kind of. It's a knock on your film, not something complimentary. The Razzies nominate things that they don't like or give awards to things they don't like. But let me read to you how NBC News, in their first paragraph of this story, put this story out. Listen to controversial conservative firebrand Dinesh D'Souza's burgeoning career as a filmmaker may have taken a significant hit on Monday. His widely panned recent pseudo-documentary, Hillary's America, The Secret Life of the Democrat Party, was nominated for 4 Razzies, an award that recognizes the worst movies of the year. NBC News, is that a fake news lead-in to a story or what?
First of all, as you might imagine, Steve, for me to be nominated for this is actually quite an honor. Because, had I made a film that promoted the Democratic Party, that panned Trump, that attacked the Republican Party, I'd be up for an Oscar right now. The left is still reeling over the result of the election. Hollywood did everything it could for Hillary. They had that whole show going, Madam Secretary, trying to glamorize Hillary. All the stars came out for her, but it didn't work. And so they're bitter, they're angry, they're frustrated. They recognize that our movie played a role, maybe a small role, but nevertheless a significant role in shaping the narrative about Hillary and the Democratic Party. So this is their little juvenile revenge on me. Little do they know that far from hurting my career, it actually is going to be a nice boost.
Yeah, but I just want you to weigh in on NBC's description of it, and I should, to be fair, Adam Howard, I don't know who he is, maybe I should, at NBC News, saying that your burgeoning career may have taken a significant hit. I mean, isn't that kind of over-dramatizing things?
Well, it's extremely ludicrous. Now, look, if I was in the Hollywood circuit, if I was writing screenplays for studios and so on, arguably they would have the power to do that to me, but I'm completely independent of their universe. I'm outside their incestuous family, and so there's nothing they can do to me. This is one reason I'm liberated to be able to make these movies and say whatever I want, is they have no power over me whatsoever. As for the movie, look, the movie was rated by CinemaScore, which is an independent ratings agency. They interview people as they come out of the theater, and they noticed, number one, wherever this movie played across the country, it doesn't matter red America or blue America, at the end of the movie, the whole audience would stand up and applaud. Now, Hollywood doesn't even know how to make a movie where people do that. You can rack your brains to think of when you've been in the theater and that's happened. CinemaScore rated us A-, which is comparable to all the best movies that came out last year, 2016. So this whole notion that we're somehow the worst movie, apparently I'm up for worst actor. Now, Steve, how can this be? I'm actually playing myself. And I think you'd have to agree, I'm kind of the world's expert at being me. So the idea that some other guy, Brad Pitt, could do a better Dinesh than Dinesh, I don't think so.
That's a great point. Great point. All right, let's talk about somebody else that the media loves to hate and go after and can do no right in their eyes, and that's Donald Trump, of course. And tell me your take on this, the progression of events. Yesterday, Donald Trump signs the executive order on the wall. The Mexican president holds a press conference or issues a statement saying, no way are we going to pay for the wall. This after Donald Trump gave an interview saying they're going to pay for it one way or another eventually. And Donald Trump today says, well, maybe if that's the way you feel, you shouldn't come to the meeting with me here next week. And the Mexican president announces he's not coming. Donald Trump in Philadelphia, as we just heard in my spotlight, said that we decided to cancel the meeting, we being together, the implication, and that he won't meet with him until Mexico starts treating us with respect. What's your take on that whole scenario?
Well, first of all, it shows that Trump is a plain man of his word. And what I mean by that is that he comes into office and he literally starts doing one by one all the things that he said he would do. He said he would work to repeal Obamacare. He's out the gate on that one. He said he would overturn Obama's executive orders. He's already done a bunch of that. He said he would block international funding for Planned Parenthood. He's already done that. And his big theme from the campaign, the wall, and he's not waiting to get on these things. He's on them already. Now, how he pulls this off is going to be a great measure of the skill of his presidency. If he can figure out a way to not only build a wall, but get the Mexicans to pay for it, I think even those of us who supported him would be very impressed.
Yeah, well, of course, it would be pay for it in the long run. And but you know what amazes me, Dinesh? What amazes me is now $12 billion is not chicken feed, and I don't like America to spend money where they don't have to spend money. But you would think $12 billion, by listening to the left, which is the media, is $12 trillion. I mean, in the context of things, $12 billion isn't all that much money.
Well, think about it. Let's put things in perspective. When Obama came in, the national debt was $8.5 trillion. Obama more than doubled it. He's added about $9 trillion. That's $9,000 billion to the national debt. So what are we talking about? I mean, we haven't heard a word about that. All these sort of lachrymose, attempts to valorize Obama at the end of his presidency. I don't hear a lot of references to all that money that he's cost us and our children and our grandchildren. So this is all ludicrousness because $12 billion will probably end up saving us a great deal more if we can curb the problem of illegal immigration.
Absolutely. Stay where you are. Dinesh D'Souza is coming back. And folks, don't forget to pick up David Horowitz's new book. It's called Big Agenda, President Trump's Plan to Save America. Newsmax has a free offer on it. Go to bigagenda911.com or call the 800 number on your screen. There it is. Give a call. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're rejoined by Dinesh D'Souza, New York Times bestselling author, filmmaker, and creator of Hillary's America, The Secret History of the Democratic Party, which you can now get on DVD, I'm happy to say. So, Dinesh, earlier today, the Washington Post, they put out a story, which I'm holding up right here so people will know I'm not giving fake news like they might have, I don't know. And it says the State Department's entire senior management team just resigned. That came out 11 o'clock this morning. And then we get word later this afternoon that Donald Trump fired the top State Department officials, including Patrick Kennedy, who had been in his job for 9 years. And you also have 3 of his top officials, the Assistant Secretary for Administration, Assistant Secretary for Consular Affairs, and the Director of the Office of Foreign Missions, all gone.
I think this news leaves me elated. I'd be excited if they resigned. I'd be even more excited if they were fired. Look, if they resigned, then this is reminiscent of all the pro-slavery Democrats who resigned from Congress in the wake of Lincoln's election in 1860. They basically vacated the place, and what happened? Essentially, they were replaced by Republicans. So this strengthened the Republican majority in the Congress. So similarly here now, the State Department, a constant thorn in the side of Republicans. They were a thorn in the side of Reagan, of Bush, they would be of Trump. So to clean that place out and fumigate it and bring in some new people couldn't be better news for Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I want you to hear something that Donald Trump said to ABC News in Donald Trump's first interview, which was given to ABC News. Watch.
I know you're a sophisticated guy. The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets. Well, you think this is going to cause a little more anger? The world is an angry place. All of this has happened. We went into Iraq. We shouldn't have gone into Iraq. We shouldn't have gotten out the way we got out. The world is a total mess. The world is a mess, David.
So they were talking about, David Murr said, is this the Muslim ban? And he said, no, it's not a ban. And he'd explained how it would work. And, you know, I love the honesty. I love how he says it, just like he says it to the crowds in the rallies. The world is a mess. He said, what, so what, are they going to get mad at me now because they did this? Who cares? The world's a mess.
I think with Trump, we're beginning to see what it means to have elected a complete outsider. We haven't done that in a very long time in America. Even Eisenhower, even though he didn't have elective office, had been, in a sense, you may say, a military politician for a long time. But Trump is a true outsider, a business guy who comes in, who looks at the world with sort of fresh eyes. And there's a kind of beautiful simplicity to that. Now, Trump obviously has a lot of learning to do, but at the same time, this kind of candor, I think, is ultimately something that is a real contrast with Obama. With Obama's kind of duplicity, his backroom dealing both domestically and internationally, look what it's done to American prestige and power around the world. I don't think we could do worse. So I think Trump is on the right track.
Okay. I want you to hear the hysteria on the left, which you're so well aware of. In particular, two people. Governor Cuomo of New York, in the wake of Donald Trump's executive orders and announcements yesterday. Listen to what the governor of New York said.
And if there is a move to deport immigrants, I say then start with me, because I am the son of Mario Cuomo, the son of Andrea Cuomo, a poor Italian immigrant who came to this country without a job, without money, without resources. And he was here only for the promise of America. And if we're going to question immigrants and deport immigrants, then who is safe? And who is left? Because we are all immigrants.
I mean, you really have to be out of your mind to say that. I'm not an immigrant. He's not an immigrant. His father wasn't an immigrant. He's talking about his grandparents. So what is he talking about?
Well, what he's doing really here, and it's, you know, first of all, this kind of demagogic rhetoric, absolutely downright comical, but masquerading as something deeply felt. Look, I think the reality here is that the left always tries to confuse and conflate illegal immigration with legal immigration. They're pretending like Trump is against all immigration, that Trump wants to send not only Cuomo, but Melania and me, pack us all up and send us back to our home countries. This is completely bogus, but it's part of the left's sleight of hand to mobilize sympathy for immigrants into sympathy for illegal immigrants.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you make of that women's march that we saw, the cursing, the vulgarity, and then Chelsea Handler doing an interview after she was a key speaker at a different march in a different city than Washington. She was asked if she'd have Melania Trump on her show, and she said, no, she doesn't speak English well. Why would I have her on? Could you imagine if you had said that, or I had said that about somebody who was a liberal or Hispanic and blah, blah, blah? You know the deal. I mean, the complicity with the media, the fake news by omission from this media is staggering.
Well, you know, Melania speaks multiple languages. Chelsea speaks just one language, and that too poorly. She probably heard Melania say something in French or Italian, and since she didn't understand it, she probably thought, oh, this woman doesn't even speak English. I mean, the funny thing here is that Chelsea Handler is trying to make Melania look like a rube, whereas in reality, it's obviously she who is the one who's parochial, limited, etc. So this is really backfiring on the left. They don't really know what to make of Trump. I think if they had gotten a normal Republican, they would have had their playbook. And they would have counted on the Republican to go into the fetal position, go on the defensive. But Trump doesn't do that. He hits back. He's unexpected. He moves aggressively. He's the most energetic pre-president we've ever had. And he's hit the ground running, that's for sure. So the left is, in a certain sense, reeling from Trump, and it's kind of fun to watch.
All right, so we talked a lot about David Horowitz's book here on the show. We've had David on. You wrote a little endorsement on the jacket of that book, inside the book.
Well, David knows the left, and the left is now returning to its roots. I mean, they've had a hold of government, or at least a partial hold on government now for 30 years. For the first time, they're facing the prospect of being outside government. And they have to go back to their Alinsky playbook, and they've got to go back to the idea of agitating, community organizing, disrupting, breaking things. David knows that left very well, and that's what makes this book, I think, very timely for now.
Dinesh, always an honor and a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.